This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the sports betting network. Mitch Moss along with Paulie Howard. We're live in downtown Las Vegas. Circa Resort and Casino is the spot here, mostly on a football Friday. On tap today over the next 3 hours. Nigel Seeley, best bets in soccer, coming up in about 30 minutes. Chuck Edel can't make today's show again. He's been really tied up on Fridays last couple of weeks. Mike Somich, VSiN host, his best bets in the NFL. Paul Bovey, professional sports bettor, in studio coming up a little bit later on. We're going to have some guts. Let's get nuts. I think I said that backwards, but you know what I'm saying. We'll look at a little bit at the NBA card tonight. We'll run down everything that you need to know week 12 of the National Football League. Paulie, little college football sprinkled in throughout as well. I will say this. There's a college basketball game beginning here in like any minute. I do have a bet on it, so I wanted to bring that up. We can maybe track it, and if you want to get down, you might have another minute to do so. It's BYU taking on Wisconsin. This is at the Delta Center in Salt Lake City. They played in the tournament last year. It was 91-89. The total was, this opened 158.5. It's 166 right now at Circa. I kind of like the first half over, but I think we're going to get both teams in the 80s. So I parlayed Wisconsin over 77.5 points with BYU to score more than 78.5 points. Exactly what I did last year in the tournament, but I also altered it last year. I'm not going to do that today. It's $1.18. Let's get some fireworks early here, huh?
All right.
Okay.
Great game.
Absolutely it is.
I'm shocked at all of it. The fact that they're playing there.
Friday at 1 o'clock Pacific
and
time?
all that, yes.
Yeah. Okay, do you also want to get a little bit nuts here to begin? Can I interest you in a little 10-1 Texans to win their division?
Oh, wow. That's aggressive. I love this defense, and I hope they make the playoffs. I mean, you just see Hunter's like a superhero right out of a movie. How big his biceps are, right? Look like me in high school. But this is just, this is crazy how nasty this. I love this defense. It's just, I'm bringing heat every single time, and there's nothing you can do about it. That I'm going to run over you and rip up Allen. And good job by Davis Mills to hold it down while Stroud was out. But I think that's a little aggressive, my friend. Now, the schedule's definitely doable at the back end, but it comes down to these next 2 weeks. Can they steal another one? We said it yesterday. Can you steal two? Two. They got one. They stole the game yesterday. Your 6-point dog got the win. Now you got to go to Indy, and you got to go to Kansas City. But with that defense, anything's possible. And you see the playmakers they have, and Nico and Higgins look good, and now you got Stroud coming back.
Sure.
Playoffs, yes. I can't get division, though.
Well, Indianapolis, they have a lot of losable games coming up.
They do.
Including
they do.
the Texans twice. Yet they have not played, so Houston can maybe sweep them and have a leg up. Look, Jacksonville is still in the mix as well. I think I would put the Texans defense at the very top of the list for any unit in football that I want to watch, like every single week. Right? There are some offenses that are great, that you want to watch probably whenever they play their games. But that unit, it's Anderson and Hunter on every single play. Mm-hmm. And Anderson's probably better than Hunter, but you're right. I mean, Hunter looks like he could compete in like some, I don't know, what do they still do, like the Mr. Olympia stuff?
Ken Patera, can I say?
Ken Patera. Wow, I get the reference, yeah.
Okay.
He's got veins popping out of veins, man.
Yeah. Superstar Billy Graham?
I like that one even better.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. Got the Pythons, baby. That's right.
Okay, well then what about a little bit on the Bills to miss the playoffs? Still available around 5 or 6 to 1, which we talked about at length yesterday on the program.
I don't care what the odds said when you watched the game yesterday about playoff percentages and all that. The level of concern is sky high.
Oh, it's never been
sky
higher.
High. Can't stop the run. Where are the playmakers? And again, Allen has to be awesome, or it's just a bad team. Uncle Lou, great call by Uncle Lou. Remember, they were plus 24 in the turnover battle last year. It's not going their way this year, and that is definitely in play that they can miss. You can't say at Pittsburgh, Cincinnati at home that these are gimme games. The way this defense is played and how bad they are against the run and how the offensive line. And injuries, too, have hit them hard with the wide receiver position as well. But this also goes back to something we talked about yesterday. There is no doubt this is a playoff team. They blew 3 games. How about the Week 2 game Monday night against Tampa?
Oh, you're talking Texans, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. Texans blew that game. They blew the Jacksonville game. And they should have beat Denver, too. But Stroud got hurt in that game, and they couldn't put him away and gave up 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. So this, at least, they should have 7 wins. But, again, I wouldn't be surprised if they run out 4-0. but it's going to be a good sweat, and I'm rooting for them, but certainly level of concern is sky high for the Bills.
I think the Bills' number to win the AFC is laughable. Mm-hmm. It's the same number basically to miss the playoffs. They're around 6-1 to win the AFC. Who wants any part of that with how broken this team is right now?
Not to mention, you're looking at probably a 4 or 5 matchup right off the bat with Baltimore and the Bills.
There you go. Also, what are we missing here? I get it. Allen is the reigning MVP. This entire offense right now has to go through Jimbo Cook. Mm-hmm. How did he not get more touches last night?
Yeah, I agree with that.
How did they not just say, you're going to get the ball 30 times, man, and we're going to try to win the game with you? Also, this absolutely kills me. Yes, it was a high-scoring game in the first half, but the game eventually died. There wasn't a touchdown scored in the second half, and it stayed under the closing total, right? How do you think Buffalo feels today? Again, having zero they were incapable of reading the room last night. They ran James Cook into 4 Texans defenders on 4th and 1 at the Houston 23-yard line rather than trying a field goal. Mm-hmm. The score at the time was 23-16. The final score was 23-19. If they kicked it there and made it, it's 23-22. They have a shot after the conversion on 4th and 27 to win the game with another field goal. Nobody ever wants to, quote, take the points anymore. Mm-hmm. Even when the game is there's not much happening offensively and your quarterback is getting murdered every time that he has the ball in his hands. Also, think about this. Buffalo converted in the fourth quarter alone. They converted improbable plays on 3rd and 12, 3rd and 13, and then that hook and ladder play on 4th and 27. None of them resulted in a touchdown. They had 1 field goal, and that was it to show for any of that. I don't get it, Paulie. If the game was playing out last night where it was 41-38, fine. Because you're not getting stops and you're scoring a bunch of touchdowns. That's the game completely flipped after halftime. It goes back to the Miami-Washington game last week in Madrid. Mm-hmm. Nobody wanted to try to field goal.
Yep. I think it swung too far. I think we need to start taking points, especially in low-scoring games. It's one thing to go for it, but it's also you drop an asinine play. You have Allen, who's a bulldozer. How about a little creativity here and get him out and running and go shotgun and give him some options as well? But the bad beats it also. If they play 50 times, 45 of the 50, it's going to be 17-13, 16-13, something like that. The fluke kickoff return, the interception deep in his own territory. The first half was a fluke. Condolences if he had the over, but then again, it was a fluke what happened in the first half. Mm-hmm. The Allen stuff to get over, vicious beats. Gabe Davis has a 22-yard catch early in the game, does nothing the rest of the game. There were several bad beats there. But you just see that Houston, if they can get this going here offensively with the weapons and what they have with Woody and with even Schultz didn't do much, but Kirk and Higgins and Collins, they can do this.
I love this team.
They can do this, yeah, absolutely. Fairbairn again. How about that? 18-3 overrun, plus money yesterday.
Yep, never a sweat. Let me point this out. So then, again, the team they have to track down to win this division, I don't want to get too crazy here, but would be Indianapolis. And they're catching 3.5 against the Chiefs coming up on Sunday. Obviously, this is an Arrowhead. your guy, Jonathan Taylor, odds on, has been now for a couple of weeks to an Offensive Player of the Year. When you look at every advanced number, obviously the run game is absolutely elite. They're at the very top of every important metric. And then you flip a Paulie and look at the Chiefs' defense overall full season to date versus the run. They are 19th in adjusted line yards, tied for 24th in power success rate allowed, 27th in stuffed rate, 10th in the second level, 15th in the open field, which is a little bit better. But how will I know it's going to be, the narrative is as easy as Spagnuolo's going to drop something. What if the Chiefs defense is dominated by this front by the Colts and Taylor runs that actually can happen here. And it's a gotta have a game, as Sal Pal said on Wednesday, for the Chiefs. They have to have as many games as possible down the stretch here. I know Danny Jones also added to the injury report earlier in the week, but they also got Sauce in, who's played one game. If their secondary is going to be improved, getting guys back here from injury as well, maybe this is much more difficult for KC than we think. The 3.5 is gone here at Circa.
Again, this is fascinating. 15 teams since 1990 to be 5-5 or worse and favored versus a team 8-2 or better. The previous 14 all won and a 12-0-2 ATS run. They got me last week with the must-win off the bye, all that jazz. Mahomes has to play better. Mahomes got to stop turning it over. There's a good breakdown today. Kelsey had a ton of targets last week. You can look at his props now that it's not cutting time. I mean, it's got to be big. for Kansas City, and maybe Kelsey's more involved.
I think he's going to be. The Colts are bad against tight ends.
Okay, and I also think it's a big Rice game. There's a lot of the damage against the Colts has been done in the slot, and that Rice can eat in this one. And now you got the Worthy news, which is unfortunate that he's questionable. But are we going to see the bad Danny Dimes? We keep talking about Darnold. This is the same thing here. 4 interceptions the last couple games. Should have lost to Atlanta. So now do we start seeing some bad Danny Dimes, and he implodes here down the stretch?
I'll tell you. So obviously one of his strengths is getting out of the pocket and running and picking up a bunch of chunk yards as the quarterback there. And you can do that against the Chiefs. They have the second highest scramble rate allowed in the entire NFL, 6th most yards to quarterbacks, and most touchdowns to QBs on the ground. But again, he hit the IR injury report yesterday. So maybe he's going to be a little bit compromised, and that won't be in his weaponry coming up on Sunday.
There's a lot of surprises. Yep. A lot of guys banged up this week. The ultimate Vegas weekend, incredible. VSiN and Circa have you covered. The first 100 new VSiN Pro annual subscribers who sign up using the code Circa get a free 3-night stay here at Circa, January 2nd through the 5th, plus a day bed at Stadium Swim during the final weekend of the regular season. 50% off the monthly price, full year of VSiN Pro. Every best bet, every host, every guest, the betting splits, the AI prop tools, and every guide we've ever done moving forward. Don't miss your shot at this great Circa getaway. VSiN.com/Circa. Promo code Circa. VSiN.com/Circa. Get your 3-night stay.
All right, more games coming up next in the National Football League. How about this? We'll tell you the player who is 32-6 straight up, 29-9 ATS in divisional games over his last 38. That's next here on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Welcome back. We're live in Vegas here on a Football Friday. Mitch Moss, Paulie Howard. Coming up, Nigel Seeley, best bets in soccer for the weekend. We'll get to win-lose coming up in 15 minutes as well. So you're telling me you are so excited, I think, about watching and betting on Shedeur Sanders. I don't even know who you are at this point.
Well, it's also the markets, though. I mean, there's just pages and pages of props from all these sports books on what this kid's going to do. You got to go back to that discussion we had in August when he was great in the preseason against Carolina. And, look at the line movement and now offensive rookie. I'm like, calm, he's not going to play that.
I fired.
So that's right.
Yeah.
But he looks so good, and then people say, hey, all right, we got this kid could play, rooting for him. So, and then certainly it was a unmitigated disaster last week, but they threw the kid in a tough situation. But it's also going against a lousy organization, a lousy team, and a bad defense. But some of this stuff, it's like, it's doable at a good price. FTM at VSiN.com or tweet at us as well. What do you expect, and what do you think if this kid will accomplish anything in his career?
Oh, in his career? I thought you were going to say in this game.
He can do that too moving forward. Maybe he doesn't, nothing happens and he just can't play and that's it, and he's out of the league in a couple years. Who knows? But I think this would be a good indicator of what's going to happen with this guy moving forward. Because some of these props, I mean, it's like Davis Mills, Justin Fields territory. Will he have 25 yards in each quarter plus 350? 25 yards. I bet over 150 yards for the game. Will he have 100 yards in each half plus 650? A 40-yard completion plus 250. A 20-plus yard long rush, 4-1. 5 rushing yards each quarter. This isn't bad. It's like preseason football, right? The play breaks down. I panic. No one's open. Take off and run. That's 10-1.
You should bet him to throw for the most passing yards on Sunday.
Oh, come on now.
If you're that high on the kid.
I'm not high. I like the market and the menu.
So it was obviously disgusting to look at last week, but he also had no reps whatsoever. So this week, with a full 5 days to get ready for an opponent that is as bad as the Las Vegas Raiders, my guess is it's going to look a lot different than it did against Baltimore.
Yeah.
And these
numbers,
lot of safe
stuff, right?
And by the way, here's what you have going for you as well. What if he came into the game last week and led them to a victory and actually looked good? Do you know what his numbers would be in this game? It'd probably be like 225.5.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's the exact opposite. And here you are after a very small sample size. We're talking about 1/2 of football against a good team, and you can buy like this low. We don't have a 4-year sample size on Justin Fields when they make the prop 135 yards. We don't have 2.5 years on Bryce Young to know that it's rare when he did last week, but you know what I'm saying? For the most part, he could never hit 200 yards. Maybe the game plan this week is, you know what? They found something in practice. He comes out, he throws the ball 35 times, and he's okay at it. And he blows by some of these numbers here.
Put him in a position to succeed. Give him some high percentage stuff early. Bubble screens, dump offs, screens, whatever. Okay?
I know this. You have good tight ends there.
You got that too. Easy, right? That's what Gabriel did early on. 50 yards each quarter, 50-1. How about that?
Okay.
A touchdown each quarter, 170-1.
Well,
210 yards passing plus 330. Come on. What if they're getting blown out?
You could actually
plus 440 to have 220 yards. Come on.
It's also how effective is Junkins on the ground.
Yeah.
And if he's having a big day, maybe they're just like, we got to keep feeding the hot hand here.
Yeah. Good job. FanDuel did it. DraftKings, Caesars, ton of same game parlays, extensive menus, polarizing guy. You know, you got that too, and then you saw the jersey sales in August as well. It's been too long. We catch up with our old friend Nigel Seeley at Seeley_Nigel on X. How about a total and 3 plays here in the Prim? Take it away, Nigel.
Hello, everyone. It's Nigel Seeley here, looking ahead to a busy weekend in the Premier League. It was international break last week, and it was a good international break. The countdown to the 2026 World Cup is well away. The draw is in a couple of weeks, and there were some good international fixtures. Can't wait for that, and I'll be giving you some picks as we build up to the championships over in America. Anyway, let's have a look at the Premier League and the English lower leagues. There are 3 bets I like in the English Premier League. The first bet is in the early kickoff, which is 7:30 a.m. Eastern time on Saturday. And it's the match where Chelsea travel to Burnley. Burnley, the newly promoted club, who have done very, very well at home this season, but have now been hit by a few injuries. They've got a small squad. They've got a very, very inexperienced squad. And suddenly a couple of injuries in the camp. Things may fall apart very quickly for Burnley. Scott Parker is a former Chelsea player. He's the manager of Burnley. And he'll want to put up a bit of a show against his former side. And he'll be resolute defensively. But ultimately, Chelsea will break them down. Chelsea have a whole injury crisis as well. Up to 11 players missing for the World Club Champions at the weekend. But I still think whoever they put out will be big enough to beat this Burnley side. At home, Burnley have lost 2 matches in the Premier League. They've both been against good opposition. They got beaten by Liverpool 1-0 and they got beaten by Arsenal 2-0 in the Premier League. And Chelsea aren't far off those pair. So I think there's a similar kind of result here. Chelsea are very heavy minus money favourites, around about minus 225. But to boost that up, I'm going to go for Chelsea to win to 0 at plus 150. So Chelsea to win and not to concede against a Burnley side who have injuries, including to their strikers. The next match I like in the Premier League is the big game of the weekend. It's the North London derby between Arsenal and Tottenham at the Emirates on Sunday at 11:30 Eastern time. Traditionally, this match is a fixture that produces lots of goals. The last 7 matches between the two sides in this fixture, over 2.5 goals has cashed. I like to swim against the tide. I think this could be a low-scoring game. The reason why I think it could be a low-scoring game is Arsenal have the best defence in the Premier League, or the best home defence in the Premier League, but they're without one of their better defenders. Gabriel is out for 2 months, a huge blow for the Gunners' title aspirations. They're also without their main striker, Gyökeres, who is out as well, and they've got injuries. And I also think they're up against a Tottenham side who have injuries themselves, but a manager in Thomas Frank, who is very, very defensively minded. And I think that he'll set his side out not to be embarrassed here, to try to hit them on the counter-attack and try to get a result. I don't think it's going to be very exciting. I expect Arsenal to win it very, very narrowly, 1-0. And also, both of these clubs have huge Champions League matches in midweek. Arsenal face Bayern Munich at home at the Emirates, and Tottenham travel to Paris to face the champions, Paris Saint-Germain. So I think this is going to be close. I'm going against the tide. Under 2.5 goals at plus 105. My final bet comes on the Monday Night Football, and it's my best bet of the weekend, actually. It's Manchester United to beat Everton. Plain and simply, money line, -133. Manchester United unbeaten in 5 matches. They scored 2 or more goals in 7 of their last 8. Amorim, the Manchester United manager, has been announced as the manager of the month. They've turned it around in recent weeks. They're creating so many chances, and they're up against an Everton side who are away from home have been pretty abysmal this season. Man United have only lost once at home this season. That was on the opening day against Arsenal, and they should have probably won that match. Man United are turning the corner a little bit here, and to get -133, I think that is a value price. So Manchester United at -133. And one bet for me in the Championship. I'm going to go for Bristol City to beat Swansea at +115 in the Championship, the English second log there, the lower division below the Premier League. Bristol City are a good side. They've got a lot of players back from injury for this match. Swansea are in complete disarray. They're currently in 18th place in the table. They've got a real poor defensive record, and Bristol City score goals for fun. They've got their best players back. I think they've got 3 players back for this match who've been out missing, and I think Bristol City will be a team to follow in the new year as they push for a playoff spot. So Bristol City to beat Swansea in the Championship, and my best 3 Premier League bets involving the big teams. Chelsea to win 2-0 at Burnley, +150. Arsenal beat Tottenham, under 2.5 goals at +105 on Sunday. And on Monday, Manchester United to beat Everton. You can read my columns featuring all these bets on the VSiN website. Have a good weekend, cash on tickets, and I'll speak to you all again next week.
There you go. Our buddy Nigel Seeley, his best bets in soccer this weekend. Update Salt Lake City college basketball today. I have a bet on... I parlayed these teams to score. Wisconsin more than 77.5, BYU more than 78.5. Before it started, Wisconsin not holding up and doing their part. They only have 24 points. They trail by a dozen, and the game total now is 166.5. BYU is favored by 11.5 in the game. So Wisconsin's been awesome again this year, early on here offensively. Going back to last year, tying that in. Guard changed everything there with the philosophy on offense, but shots are not going down so far in the first half there. They're also playing, by the way, on the Utah Jazz NBA Cup court, and it looks like Prince out there. It's so purple. And tonight's a big night in the NBA.
It is.
With the
good
Cup.
Games, yes. Denver and Houston coming up.
That's a good one. I lost with the Hawks last night. They allowed, think about this, how many guys the Spurs were without. They allowed the Spurs to score a combined 86 points in the second and the fourth quarter. They got absolutely torched. No Wemby, no Castle, no Harper. That's an incredible job by San Antonio.
Yep.
So they took it to them and lost that bet as a result. Up next, win some, lose some. How about this? A 17-1 cash last night and an 18-3 overrun. Paulie's going to detail it all next here on VSiN.
This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
This hour sponsored by Better. Better Picks, the daily fantasy sports app where your sports knowledge turns into real cash fast. Download Better or visit better.app now. Sign up today, get free money and no deposit necessary. Better.app, BETR.
Here's the hour coming up. We're going to get nuts, have some guts, long shots, ladder bets, TD scores coming up in 15 minutes, upset alert in college football, and more NFL games. But here, best bets for the weekend from VSiN host Mike Somich. As he joins the program, he does a podcast twice here at the network. Comes out on Mondays and Thursdays with Patrick Maher. It's called Sharp Money. Make sure you go and listen to that bad boy. Subscribe, like it, wherever you get your podcast. And he is on the Progressive Guest Line. Mike, good afternoon. Good to talk to you again. As always, pal, let's begin. We ended last hour talking about this Jacksonville and Arizona game. We think that there could be some fireworks in this spot. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think this is a game that is highly likely to get fireworks, and one of the few totals that I think is a firework-eligible game that hasn't been steamed up this week. I'm surprised we're still sitting under 48 in this game. You can get 47.5 painted across the board right now. Let's just start out with the Cardinals here on their defensive side. They're down multiple cornerbacks, so the passing attacks that they're facing right now are having a just plethora of success against them. You were talking about the run stats last hour. They don't stop the run very well. They can't stop the pass very well. They don't mind giving up big plays in special teams. And they have a competent offense on the other side. I think that's the other important thing here, that the Brissett thing is not just a flash in the pan here after just 1 or 2 weeks. We've seen him consistently be able to move this offense better than we saw Kyler Murray earlier in the season. This isn't a Jacksonville defense that has been great statistically. They've been great from a turnover perspective. And when they get those turnovers, that's when they've been able to stop teams. But if they don't get those turnovers, and Brissett has not been a turnover machine in his start so far this year, we've seen them give up points and yards to multiple football teams. I think this is a situation where this thing flies well over the 47.5 total. I have this close to in the low 50s. I have it at 50.4 right now in my numbers. So 47.5 offers quite a bit of value. And I agree with you guys. From a prop perspective, I think McBride has a chance for a big game. I'd be a little hesitant around the Michael Carter or the Michael Wilson props after his week last week. I would be very interested in Jacoby Myers if they'd ever post it. I still can't find Jacoby Myers props up right now. I think he has an opportunity to have a very big game against this banged up Arizona secondary.
I agree with that, no doubt. Okay, state your case here. Green Bay 0-6 ATS when laying more than 4 points.
They're due, right? Isn't that enough? This is a Packers team that needs to put a full game together. And I think we're actually going to finally see it here, taking on a Minnesota Vikings team where I'm just ready to completely fade J.J. McCarthy. This is a situation where if you watch Justin Jefferson's body language on throws from J.J. McCarthy to him, you can just tell the helmet throw is coming at some point. I wouldn't be shocked if it's this week. Last week, McCarthy was 16 for 32. Ended up throwing 2 picks. He has 8 interceptions on the season. He's, I believe, 5th in the NFL in interceptions despite missing multiple games. This is a Green Bay Packers defense that has also had opportunities to get interceptions. We saw 3 or 4 of them go through their hands last week against Jameis Winston. I think the defense shows up here, able to stop McCarthy through the air. You're going to see a lot of run from the Vikings here, but if the Packers get out to any sort of lead, it's going to be on J.J. McCarthy to bring him back. I just don't have any faith that he'll be able to do so despite having the weapons on the outside. And you flip around, this is a Jordan Love-led offense that understands how to attack this Vikings defense. I think the Packers have success on the offensive side of the ball, and I think we see McCarthy continue to struggle against the defense for the Packers. It's going to create some turnovers here. So happy to lay anything under a touchdown here with the Packers. Got the 6.5 in my account.
All right. Plenty of line movement between the Patriots and Bengals this week. Plenty of speculation about Joe Burrow as well. What did you do with this earlier in the week, and what would you do with the current numbers on the board here?
Yeah, we talked about this yesterday on Sharp Money, and we had I wanted to come on here and actually give out 3 or 4 more side and total bets, but we've just seen the board get absolutely eaten up on some of the numbers that I had prior to the show here, and so not able to give as many of those out. Make sure you're checking out Sharp Money on Sunday nights and Thursdays. We go through the entire board, got some bets in there, including we got the Lions -10. I played the Patriots -6.5 here as well when that was available yesterday. I still have a heavy lean toward the 7. It's hard for me to want to go out and say, hey, bet the 7 when that 6.5, a key number, was available yesterday. If we see a 6.5 again, if Burrow officially gets announced in, I love the Patriots minus the 6.5. It is wild to me that people are thinking that Joe Burrow is going to make a massive difference right off the bench here. I agree he is an upgrade from Flacco. Don't get me wrong. But we have seen Joe Burrow at the start of seasons, after missing training camp, really struggle early in the year, specifically that first game. He just doesn't have it. The timing is off a little bit. And now you're taking away Jamar Chase as well. If this is Joe Burrow, I just don't believe you're going to get the immediate Joe Burrow bump right out of the gate against a Patriots team that is set up really well to defend this Bengals offense. Without Jamar Chase, you can take Gonzalez, throw him on Higgins, and then say, okay, who's going to beat us now? Are you going to try and run the football against a Patriots team that's very good against the run with Chase Brown? Good luck with your trash offensive line. Are you going to try and beat him with Yoshivas on the outside? I mean, I think his props are interesting if it's Joe Flacco out there, but I don't see how they're going to be able to consistently move the ball against a Patriots team. You look on the other side, this Bengals defense is awful. There's no other way to put it. They don't rush the passer. They don't cover anybody in the secondary. They don't mind giving up chunk plays on the ground. I think the Patriots move the football consistently all day, like the Patriots team total over if you want to go that direction as well. And I think the Bengals struggle here on the offensive side when you take Jamar Chase out of the equation.
Very good. Excellent breakdown. How about the props here with Detroit? This is the best trend going in sports. They're on a 13-0 ATS run off a loss. I'm confident if something's working, Dan Campbell will continue to do it, and you're going against the second worst run defense in the league. What do you want to do with Detroit props?
Yeah, this is a matchup made in heaven for the Detroit running backs here. And I think there's a couple different props that you can attack. I'll start with a couple on Jahmyr Gibbs here. First off, longest rush over 18.5. This is a defense that doesn't mind giving up explosive runs to the outside. They're giving up, they're bottom 5 in the NFL in explosive run rate here. And this is specifically with Gibbs, someone who is going to be able to rip off big plays. I think he goes for at least one run over 18.5 yards. I also like his first half total. He's sitting at 36.5 here. We have seen Gibbs get the first series consistently. So you know you're going to get the first series out of Gibbs. He's probably going to get 3, maybe 4 series on the offensive side in the first half specifically. If that's the case, I think 36.5, which is currently listed over DraftKings, way too low for his rush yards in specifically the first half here when we know we're going to get the majority of Gibbs if this does turn into a blowout. I also like the fact that over on DraftKings, you can get Gibbs plus Montgomery rush yards as a combination. You can get 125 at minus 114, them to go over 125. I love that number. You can get over 150 yards at plus 211 right now over on DraftKings for Montgomery and Gibbs combined. If you look at the last 3 games, awful loss for this Lions team. They faced the Bears, they faced the Bucs, who have a very good run defense, and they faced the Commanders. In those 3 games, every single time, Gibbs plus Montgomery rush yards has been over 150. We also saw a 175-yard game in there. If you want to put Gibbs plus Montgomery 175 plus rush yards, that's currently at 5-1. I think the two of them really control this game on the ground against a bad Giants run defense. And with the spread where it is as well, we're sitting around 12.5, 13 now. The game script plays into running the football, and this isn't a Lions team that has a 3rd or 4th running back that you have to worry about in blowouts getting carries from Montgomery and Gibbs. So they'll get the lion's share of the workload no matter what the score is here against a very bad run defense. I think they absolutely run all over the Giants this weekend. So I have them at plus 150. 150 yards or more at plus 211. I don't mind taking a shot at 175 or more at 5-1 as well.
First of all, I mean, incredible analysis. I love that you caught that. And by the way, a very creative market for DraftKings to actually offer. I love that idea. And you're absolutely right. On top of that, too, the Lions overall in totality, they absolutely pound the worst rushing attacks on defense whenever they play them. The Giants are as bad as it gets. Paulie loves Shedeur Sanders this week. Do you agree with that?
I think he is incorrectly priced. I don't love Shedeur Sanders, but I think he is incorrectly priced here, specifically on the passing yards prop. You can get him at 158.5 to the over. I'll take over 158 yards passing. That's just a disgustingly low total for a quarterback that we just don't know that much about. He was willing to take shots down the field when we saw him against the Baltimore Ravens. You're getting a much easier defense to face here in the Las Vegas Raiders this week for Shedeur. I also have his under rush yards. It's at 20.5 right now. People forget how slow Shedeur Sanders is. Yes, he's probably going to think in his head, oh, I should take off if the first read or second read isn't there. He's just not very fast. I don't expect him to be able to get an explosive scramble against this Raiders defense. If that's the case, it's going to take 5-6 carries for him to get over 20 yards. I just don't see that happening. But I do agree. Like this 158.5 is a wildly low number for an unknown quantity. That's the key part of this. There isn't the track record of understanding what he's going to do. And he does have the ability to get the football out and throw it downfield. We saw that at Colorado. I think he takes shots against this Raiders defense in a game that could be very low scoring as well. But I do like his over 158 yards passing.
That's right. He's got a ton of confidence. He's going to let it rip. Will it work out? I don't know.
No other choice.
He's not going to check it down. He's not going to go, they're going to probably hit him some confidence and some early stuff early to build it, but he's going to let it rip. I totally agree with you.
Yeah. Bonus bet, college football here. You like Hawaii tonight plus the points?
I do like Hawaii tonight plus the points. You got the return of the quarterback there who played right down the street at, I believe it was Bishop Gorman there in Las Vegas. It's a Hawaii team that's gotten a lot better since we saw them week 1 or week 0 against Stanford over on the island. They've been playing solid offensive football the last few weeks. This UNLV defense is absolutely atrocious. You can catch the 3 pretty much across the board here. I like the dog in this spot. I think Hawaii wins this game outright, but I don't mind taking that +3 either.
Very good. By the way, I have a number for you on Jakobi Meyers. What number were you hoping to bet?
I was hoping we get something in the high 40s, low 50s.
Yeah, you got it. I see a couple of books. One of them is not a real sports book. I'm not going to name names, but it's 48.5 is the number.
Yeah, I would take over anything below 55. I think Myers has an opportunity for a huge game here now that he's 3 weeks into the offense and facing a secondary that's absolutely decimated by injury in Arizona.
Yeah, there you go. Well, very strong reasons there to listen to Sharp Money with Mike and Patrick Marr when it comes out twice a week, because he had like 4 other games with awesome numbers, but those numbers are gone now for his appearance. Thanks, Mike. We appreciate it. Best of luck this weekend.
Good luck, guys. We'll catch you next week.
Yep. Up next, let's get nuts and have some. I'm going to give you a 13-1 anytime touchdown scorer this weekend, and I'll tell you why next.
This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Thanks for watching today on YouTube TV, listening on Sirius XM channel 158, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, or any of our great affiliates across the country. Heavy National Football League this hour. We'll get to our best bets coming up at the back end of the show, and we'll kick it off with professional sports bettor Paul Bovey, kind enough to join us in studio and make his trek over to Circuit today, despite it being rainy all week and F1 in town, traffic, and complete nightmare. Good to see you, pal. Thanks for the time today. How are you?
Yeah, thanks for having me in, man. It's great to see you guys. It's been a while, but here I am. Yeah, F1's been a nightmare. It's a little rainy here, but we get through it.
You wanted to address this first and foremost before we get into what you're looking at this week. For people who listen and watch the network constantly, and they were taking in the best bets and the picks in the Friday Football Invitational, you were in it again this year.
I was in it again this year. Unfortunately, it did not go well. I'm not going to blame it entirely on the distractions that I've had, because I have my hands in a lot of different things. And you want to be a landlord, you're going to deal with some things. And I've had it in terms of issues over the last couple months. But looking at this contest, you know, I'm a avid believer that breaks even out over the long term. I really do believe that. You don't lose all the photo finishes, you win half of them. Although you ask a horse player and they'll tell you they lose them all. But I looked at this contest, and every conceivable bad break in the NFL just went against me. I mean, I had them all. It started with the Bills and the Ravens as the best bet in week 1. Of course, Derrick Henry fumbles the ball, and I lose that one. And it ended with C.J. Stroud going out with a concussion against the Broncos. They had already piled up 100 yards of offense early in the second quarter. Davis Mills, and it crashes and burns. In the interim, I've got every game. The Rams, Eagles, I've got the Raider block kick. I could go down the list. There was 1 week I lost two totals. One in the NFL by a point, one in college on a 51 by a half. It was just, I could go down the list. It's a nightmare. Well, I didn't come out of my room for a week. Here I am, and I got to face the music.
So I think the biggest takeaway from this is you've had much better seasons, but you were also not distracted with everything going on in your life as a landlord and owning multiple properties and dealing with all the nonsense you've had to put up with. And that has had a major impact on how much time you can actually spend handicapping games.
I found myself putting in picks at a quarter to whatever time zone I was in, because I was in Toronto, I was in Mexico. I found myself putting in picks 15 minutes before and forgetting to put games in just because I had to divert my attention. Now, I'm down in the NFL this year. I've made money the last 8 years, probably 20 out of the last 25 or better, and I'm down, and it's a significant amount. I'm not going to lie, but in the end, I always get them, and I will get them, and I will end up this year positive. I know it. I feel it, because eventually I believe in myself, and I'm going to win.
Okay, well, let's get it started this week then.
Okay.
Great job with the Derby, Breeders' Cup with the horses.
Yeah.
You cashed some big tickets. Good job.
And you know what? The horses this year have been great. It was my best Breeders' Cup, and you guys know this because I texted you Ethical Diamond, 5 minutes to post, 51-1 play him. He's going to go off at around 20-1. I knew he was going to drop. The CAW complainers, whiners were, all you heard was, it's the CAWs, whatever. I knew the horse was going to drop, and I texted you the day before, $340 exacta. 2 texts, 2 huge winners. So the horses have been great. Thankfully, it offset the sports.
Let's begin here. In the NFL, what was the first bet that you made this week?
The first bet I made was the Steeler game over 44.5 because I felt as though under 45 was worth a hit. Now, it's up to 45.5, 46. And you look down the schedule, and it's correlated to what I now believe will be a Steeler win. Okay? This Bear defense, you look at this Bear team, 7-3. I mean, can you believe the Chicago Bears are 7-3? They have a 1-point win over the Commanders. They have a 1-point win on a blocked field goal against the Raiders. The Giants had a 20-10 lead with 6 minutes to go. Okay? They chuck the lead. Jackson Dart goes out. In comes Russell Wilson. They lose at 24-20. Last week, J.J. McCarthy, that was scary to look at. It really was. This man had 84 yards passing after 3 quarters against the Bears' porous secondary that has been a sieve throughout the entire year.
Yep.
So the Bears have been very fortunate. And in this case, I like the Steelers. I think they're going to score points. And that's why I played the over. And now with the Bears down, all 3 linebackers, Edmonds, Edwards, and Sewell, these tight ends are going to run wild for the Steelers. And you know what? They're all up on props. And you've got Washington, Jonah, and also Freiermuth. They're all lined around 14.5 to 19.5. I don't know who's going to get it, but I think they're all going to get it, okay? Because they're not going to be able to stop the tight end. When Edwards has been out, TJ Edwards out, the tight ends have run wild against this team. In fact, you go back to the Dallas game, Jake Ferguson had 13 receptions when he was out in 14 attempts. And also Theo Johnson, when Edwards was out, he had 7. So, and last week I had TJ Hawkinson. I mean, I was just in agony watching JJ try to get it to Hawkinson and missing him. He still ended up with 3. I pushed the receptions. He went over the yardage quite comfortably, but he should have had 80 yards.
I think the guy will be Washington. Phenomenal breakdown. Good luck to you. How about Monday night's intriguing? There's a lot going on here with Monday night because Carolina's been an underdog in every game but one, and they blew that game to the Saints. Can they get to 7 wins here? And the Niners have had all kinds of issues, ATS off wins, going back since last Christmas.
So I took a flyer today on the Niners not to make the playoffs.
Wow.
Okay? It's a flyer. It's plus 425. Why did I take it? I could look at the path, and I understand they have Tennessee at home. They have Chicago at home. But I think we could make a statement about quarterbacks in the NFL. If you don't have protection, you're not going to be successful. By the same token, if you have protection, you're going to be able to pick teams apart. The Niners this year have 36 quarterback hits. To put that in perspective, the Broncos have 107. The Niners are in the bottom of the league in that category. They have 12 sacks in 11 games. They do not get to the quarterback. In case you missed it, Jacoby Brissett, 57 dropbacks last week, 0 sacks, 4 quarterback hits. The best they've done in the last few weeks is Jackson Dart. I think they sacked him 2 or 3 times. But beyond that, 2 times. They had 1 3-sack game, and that was against the Saints and Spencer Rattler early in the season. And that's it. They just don't get to the quarterback. So now you're giving Bryce Young a chance to just stand back there and pick off his receivers, which I believe he can do. I mean, they had some issues at the receiver position throughout the year. They had a few injuries. McMillan, I think, sat a game. But Carolina should be able to score. Now, I played this game over 47. I sent you guys the tickets because I don't like giving out stale lines. But the reason I'm going to mention it, I still like it. There's some defensive issues. Bethune for the Niners, he's going to be out. Now, he had a 5-game stretch where he had 60 sacks and then went out against Arizona in the second quarter with 60 tackles. He went out in the second quarter with 3 tackles. He's going to be out. Now, on the other side, you got Roseboom, I think his name is. He has 91 tackles for Carolina, and he's going to be out. So this game sets up for a lot of points, but I do believe Carolina can stay with them, put probably 24-27 on the board, and maybe knock them off.
Okay, so the big bet here was the over 47.
Yes.
Do you get involved with team totals often? I know you bet the Steelers team total over here. Would you look at Carolina team total over in this game, or is it too late to play it?
Well, I took it at 20.5. Okay, and some places what they do is they'll just juice it. Mm-hmm. Some places fall asleep on it, and some places will move the number up. I mean, to me, 20.5 is kind of a key number. You want to stay under the 3-touchdown 21. That's nice. When it goes to 21.5, generally speaking, you need 23 or 24. Mm-hmm. So, yes, I play a lot of team totals because I think there's some edges there to be had.
Okay, so you are all about key numbers as well, obviously. You mentioned right away Steelers-Bears 44.5. That I'm seeing as high as there's a 46.5 out there, but I do see 44.5 minus 20 cents. Is that worth a play if people did not get down yet?
I don't know.
Probably not. Okay.
That's tough. Laying 20 cents on a total and banking on one number. I don't know that I would do that. I'd rather lay the 45 and flat, and if it ends 45,
that's totally fair. Totally fair. Yeah. Because you getting to know you over the years. I mean, these numbers, every half a point, obviously, it means a lot, and it has to. Like that's got to be like a learning lesson for people.
I sent you a teaser early in the week.
Hang on to that. Hang on to the teaser. Explain that to the audience, and we're also going to get into, because, by the way, his look at teasers, not exactly like the standard Wong teasers that we've grown to love for 25 years. He has a different approach occasionally. He'll explain that coming up on Follow the Money. Professional sports bettor Paul Bovey with us here on a Friday.